Welcome to this week's edition of News 6. Today's program is brought to you by the 6th grade class of Arlington Elementary. Arlington is located 10 miles south of Findlay. Founded in 1844, it currently has a population of some 1,300 people.
Many people like to collect and restore antiques, but there's something especially satisfying about restoring a classic automobile. Reporter Jeff Boner takes us to meet a car collector who is mixing business with pleasure.
Hi, I'm Jeff Boner, and today I'm cruising over to Yesteryear's Auto Classics. Carl Best is the owner of Yesteryear's Auto Classics. Here, he takes classic old cars and restores them to mint condition.
I've been restoring cars since I was 16 years old. My first car was a 1956 Ford Thunderbird that I got when I was 18 years old, and it took me around a year and a half to restore that car. These are a lot of cars that are from friends, and we work together to restore these cars. It's a love affair with the old cars. The cost of restoring an old car is very similar to the purchase price of a new vehicle today.
Carl says that restoring old cars takes a lot of patience and attention to detail.
It takes an extreme amount of patience. There's items on the cars that maybe don't necessarily fit the way that we probably like them to fit. You have to spend hours just getting the parts to fit on the vehicle, such as the fenders, if you've taken those off, to get them to match back up in line. It takes anywhere, depending on the condition of the car, anywhere from 6 weeks to 2 years, depending on how much restoration.
For many people, restoring old cars is a labor of love.
It's extremely hard to sell a car that you've put a lot of time in restoration. It's just like part of the family, or being part of you.
This is Jeff Bogner reporting for News 6.
The rich soil of northwest Ohio makes this area some of the best farmland in the state, but a farmer's job isn't done when the crops are grown. The farmer also needs to get the crops to market. Reporter Stacy Essinger shows us an important step along the way.
Hi, I'm Stacy Essinger. We're here to take a ride on a new generation co-op grain elevator.
Going up!
Actually, this elevator isn't the kind people ride on. This elevator is made to move corn, beans, and wheat.
The primary purpose of a grain elevator is to have a place for the local farmers to purchase their feed for their animals, to buy their seeds for their crops, and also a place to sell their crops.
Manager John Stoneburner showed our class how a grain elevator works.
When the farmer brings his grain to the elevator, the first thing he does is weigh his truck. We then take a sample out of the truck. We grade it as far as moisture and test weight. The farmer then drives around to a pit and unloads his truck. Normally the local products such as wheat and beans are transported by semi, where corn going to the southeast is hauled by railroad cars.
The elevator in Arlington is operated as a co-op. This means that farmers are working together.
The advantages of running an elevator as a co-op is it helps the local farmers get better purchasing prices for their seed and feed, and it helps them get a higher price for their grain when they want to sell it. As long as people wish to eat, the elevator will be here for many more years. We always need a place to store our grain until it is needed for put in the food chain.
This is Stacy Essinger reporting for News 6.
If you could go back anywhere in time, where would you go and why? I would go back to the summer of '96 to see the gymnastics team win the gold medal in the Olympics.
I would go back to the 1920s where women were getting the right to vote.
I would go back to 1986 to tell the people getting on the Challenger not to get on. I'd go back to Old Williamsburg because I think it would be fun living with those people.
I would go back to the birth of Christ to see him work his miracles on people.
News 6 Retro.
Now that you have heard quite a bit about the students, let's turn it over to Holly, who is going to introduce you to our current AFS student.
This is Mats Engström from Sweden. Thanks for joining us today, Mats. Can you give us a little background about yourself? For example, where do you live in Sweden and what is your parents' name?
I live on an island called Gotland in Baltic Sea, and there is 54,000 people there. And my Swedish parent is Maja och Georg Engström, and my American parents is Donna and James Rizzo.
Do you have any sisters and brothers?
I have one sister in Sweden whose name is Gunilla, and in American I have two brothers and one sister. My sister is Laura, and my oldest brother is Kevin, and my youngest brother is Scott.
And you were a sixth grader, you always needed someone else to drive you places. Well, we'll have to wait till we're in high school to drive on our own. If Jim Seidel has his way, the way we learn to drive will be different than it is today. Reporter Becky Wilson explains.
Hi, I'm Becky Wilson, and I'm here to talk with Jim Seidel about his ideas for driver's education.
Jim has been teaching driver's education for 25 years. He thinks he knows a way to improve training and make it safer.
My idea for having the students drive at the age of 15 is to allow them to get more experience with the help of their parents before they come into an organized form of driver's education. I think that having a permit at the age of 15 would cut down on accidents because of the amount of experience that the students would get before they actually got out on the road with a full-fledged license. In some cases, in the cases of where they're on a farm or rural kids, sometimes have the opportunity to do a lot of driving, and some of them just take driver's education, and that is supposed to prepare them for driving. I don't believe that this is enough time as it is presently set up.
In addition to driving at 15 with a permit, Jim also proposes stiffer penalties for teenagers who drink and drive.
The penalties right now here in Hancock County are fairly strong, but I would like to see the situation that if they get caught for drinking and driving, that they lose their license until they're 18 or for 1 year, whichever is the longest.
To promote his ideas about driver's education, Jim has been trying to change our state laws. Jim has been working on the law with State Representative Charles Brading.
We're hoping to get the bill passed out of the Ohio House in the next month or two, and hopefully by the time you're ready to drive, that legislation will be in effect.
This is Becky Wilson reporting for News 6.
That's all for this edition of News 6. Be sure to watch next week when News 6 will be brought to you by the 6th grade class of Wapakoneta Middle School. Goodbye.